The Stock of the Day is brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. Trade over 17,000 markets with extended trading hours on key US shares and competitive spreads, all on an award-winning platform. Get started at IG.com.
And our stock of the day is Super Retail Group, which owns Rebel Sport, BCF, Supercheap Auto. News today has terminated the employment of Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Anthony Heraghty with immediate effect. In an ASX announcement there, the company board saying it made the decision after receiving new information from Heraghty about his relationship with the company's former Chief Human Resources Officer and that his prior disclosures were not satisfactory. The company's board has lapsed Heraghty's incentives, which includes all unvested incentives and vested but unexercised rights. David Burns, the CFO, has been appointed interim Chief Executive while the company searches for a replacement. Off the back of its results recently, net profit beat from Super Retail due to robust sales there, and also Rebel results, which represent around 51 and 29% of the group earnings respectively. Like-for-like sales growth has picked up in May and June with better cost management boosting margins. Zach, let's start with you.
I'm going to say it, Andrew. We need to have some sort of Chinese walls between HR managers and company CEOs. This is now becoming a pandemic of sorts. But look, we own this stock, so I should not laugh because we really started piling the stock below $10. Obviously, it's done well over for last few years. But what's interesting is, obviously, look, whenever the CEO is terminated, tosses up a lot of uncertainty. Look, I don't think at the divisional level there's going to be too much change, but it does create uncertainty in terms of what the new CEO is going to come and do in terms of strategy. That could be mitigated a little bit by the board will have particular caveats around what the new CEO needs to do. But look, overall, like you said, the results were okay. Trading updates were okay. We wouldn't be selling it on the back of that, but it's going to certainly provide a headwind of sorts whilst they work through this. But it is disappointing because it also potentially tells you how the CEO is dealing with some of the other executives. Disappointing.
In fact, I think there are some outstanding wrongful dismissal claims.
Yeah,
that need to be considered too in the wake of that. But when you take a look at the retail business itself, what are you seeing? I mean, what do you think of retail at the moment, particularly in this rate cutting environment?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, rate cutting environment will be positive for retail spend. We like that whole outdoor sports Rebel. And Supercheap Auto has got a really good market position. There's some pricing pressure there. There's some competitive pressure there, but we feel like there's a bit more rationality coming back into that part of the business as well, which was indicated in the recent results. And so overall, we like the brands. We like the end markets they're exposed to. And any sort of alleviation of pressure on the consumer could only be positive for retail stocks like that. So it's a retail stock that it's not the only retail stock we own, but yeah, certainly we are positive on its brands and market positions.
Michael,
it's a terrific retailer, at least it has been over the last however many years. The most recent update, was fairly optimistic in terms of the outlook. In that, there was discussion that competitive pressures in the auto space had improved. Likewise, there'd been stabilisation in some of the competition at Rebel. Volume growth was holding up, and growing fairly well, despite the fact that basket sizes, hadn't continued to grow. So the amount that people were buying had stabilised, but at least the volume was growing. So, decent quality business with exposure to good quality retailers across different parts of the retail space. Obviously, this most recent update comes as a bit of a surprise, although, there's been a number of these across a number of different businesses. So, look, the company will work its way through it, but it'll just take a little bit of steam out of things for the moment and distract the market's attention away from the numbers towards governance, and also likely distract the executives of the business as they look to work their way through all these allegations and try to address them as best as they can. So you never want to see that as an investor. Obviously, it goes without saying you want management to be focusing on managing the business, not dealing with governance issues.
So it is a...
I'm going to go a hold on it. That's because the momentum's definitely improving. the environment's improving, the competitive pressures are subsiding. So, at an operational level, they should be moving into a bit of an easier period. And if it's a company that's done as well as they have during what's been perceived to be a tough period for retail, then they should be able to make hay while the sun shines and conditions improve.
That is a double hold then for our stock of the day, Super Retail, and that is the show. Thanks for watching.
The stock of the day was brought to you by IG. Trade over 12,000 shares and ETFs, including major tech giants with extended hours on an award-winning platform. Get started at IG.com.